Hey YouTube, it's me, Mr. Lawless, and I've had a little bit of time to digest this Sandy Hook shooting thing, and I wanted to go down the rabbit hole with you a little bit on, everything I discovered, the inconsistencies, and some of the strange stuff that went on during the whole unfolding of this. Um, I think you'll find this very interesting, so let's move into it, shall we? And I want to open up with Eric Holder's statement from 1995 when he was a U.S. attorney under Bill Clinton, when he was talking about guns. And I'll let it speak for itself. And the only reason this is relevant is because it lets us know exactly what the other side, how the other side feels about the Second Amendment. Only reason it's relevant, but I'm going to go ahead and play that now for you.
Will be
So,
an effort that will entail things that I'm really not familiar with. I think I'm a pretty good lawyer, but we need to get really innovative, creative things that are going to grab the attention of these kids and change, as I said, the way in which they think about guns. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different
all
way.
right. A little second bit of information was brought to my attention by my good buddy Montegraph here on YouTube. And if you're not subscribed to him, I would suggest you go and subscribe to him because he does some of the best forensic digital investigation on YouTube that's out there. There's a few other people that do it, but he's really good at tearing this stuff apart. And he basically uncovered that basically 2 years ago, DHS held a an exercise of some kind, basically in the field right next to the school, the same Sandy Hook school where the shooting took place. 2 years ago, DHS held some kind of exercise, and here's a little map of said exercise where it took place. And oddly enough, it's right there by the school. And Sandy Hook's supposed to be this little tiny town out in the middle of nowhere, and yet DHS is holding a exercise right there. So very coincidental, strange. You could even say maybe not coincidental. I don't know. Now, the next little bit of information, I've mentioned this before, was the first thing Obama done when he was reelected is he sent his mission to the United States within 24 hours, actually a couple hours after his reelection, to basically support the UN's arm treaty. Now, he had basically dodged this his whole first term and hadn't really committed to supporting this arms treaty. But as soon as he was reelected, that was his first action as reelected president, was to go to the UN with his administration and support this UN arm treaty, which a lot of people thinks is actually going to take a lot of our sovereignty away as far as the United States goes. It's going to basically give our sovereign Second Amendment rights and put them under the jurisdiction of the UN. Or at least that's the idea behind it. Of course, that's not constitutional and it's illegal, among other things. But that's the idea behind it. So let's go further, shall we? There's some more stuff that I want everyone to look at here. I found this curious. 2 weeks before the shooting, the governor of Connecticut put out a little tweet, a little tweety tweet. And the tweet was, Attorney General Eric Holder and U.S. Attorney for Connecticut Fine will be with Governor Malloy tomorrow in New Haven to announce an anti-gun violence initiative. 2 weeks before the Sandy Hook shooting, the governor of Connecticut, along with the state attorney general and Eric Holder, were all meeting up to discuss anti-gun violence initiative. And the name of it was... Project Longevity. Very strange name, and very strange that they would meet 2 weeks before a shooting in Connecticut with Eric Holder, who hates the Second Amendment and basically hates guns, thinks we all need to think differently about guns, gun culture, as he so eloquently put it in 1995. Met with everybody. Now, it gets even stranger. Let's go a little further into this. So they held... Now, at the press conference after the shooting, the governor of Connecticut said something very strange indeed. And not too many people have mentioned this or even played this video clip. But I want to play it now, what the
Lieutenant
governor said
Governor
there.
and I have been spoken to in an attempt that we might be prepared for something like this playing itself out in our state.
The lieutenant and I have been, long pause, spoken to that we might be prepared for something like this happening in our state. And the question I would have is, A, who spoke to you about that? And I'm playing devil's advocate here. Maybe he's talking about like a DHS briefing when he got elected as governor. It's possible that, the Department of Homeland Security briefs anybody that's elected as governor about the potential of catastrophes or horrific events happening in their state. So I'm playing devil's advocate. It could be that, or it could be perhaps the Attorney General when they had their little uh, Project Longevity meeting there in Connecticut may have spoken to them and told them, you could have a mass shooting here. I don't know. This is all conjecture. This is all just me pondering the little pieces of information. But it's very strange that he would say that. And if you I want to play it again, if you watch it, it's very strange because it almost looks like he's going to say, the lieutenant governor and I were warned about the potential for something like this happening in our state. There's a long pause there. And I swear he's getting ready to say warned. He thought better of it and changed the language. And I'll play that again.
Lieutenant Governor and I have been spoken to in an attempt that we might be prepared for something like this playing itself out in our state. You can never be prepared for.
Now, then there's some other information and inconsistencies. I'm going to go off on a little bit. Okay, everybody's talking about the second shooter and the third shooter. And I actually know of one guy. I've actually got his name. We've looked into it a little bit. And I'll give you his first name. It's Christopher. And I don't want to give you his last name because I don't think this guy had anything to do with it. And he was basically detained on the spot. And it turns out that he's a parent of one of the students. And so there's really no reason for me to give you his full name. But his first name's Christopher. And it looks like the police cuffed him and detained him during the confusion of everything that was going on. And supposedly it looks like he's one of the parents. And the reason I think this guy was one of the parents is his wife was actually talking to one of the news outlets and said, yeah, he heard gunfire. He ran around the school. About that time, the police were arriving. He ran around the school, to basically take cover. And about that time, the police were arriving, and they grabbed him up, handcuffed him. So it looks like that's at least accounts for one of the guys that you might see in handcuffs. But his wife said he ran around the school. She didn't say he ran into the woods. And the biggest question here is, who did they arrest in the woods? And what was he doing there? And I'll go ahead and play a little video here. It's weird, too, because it looks like I've noticed that they arrested somebody in the woods. There's video of that from a helicopter of them actually putting someone on their stomach and arresting them, cuffing them. But this video here, I'm going to show it to you here. And it's 3 cops running into the woods, helicopter footage. I don't think this is the same guy. I've actually spotted somebody else in the woods, and I don't believe it's the guy they handcuffed. And I don't think it's a cop because he's staying fairly still. And I'm going to show you that now. Now, this video is going to freeze, and you're going to see 1 cop, 2 cop, 3 cop. And here we go. Let's freeze the video. One cop, 2 cop, 3 cop. Now this is important because I want you to keep track of the cops. Now look over here right under where it says Bigfoot. There's someone laying in the woods. You see them walking? And that's actually the end of that little video clip there, the guy walking. And I'll show you that again. But who is that? Who's laying in the woods? And they start walking when the police actually start entering the woods. And the reason I don't think it's the guy that they end up arresting is because the guy that they end up arresting is to the right of where the police are. That guy is actually to the upper left. So, very strange. Okay, the other thing, and there's actually videos out there of parents and stuff that actually seen a guy in camo pants being arrested. You've heard the story of the guy saying,
They did walk a guy out of the woods. I saw him walk a guy out earlier with handcuffs. He walked by us and said he didn't do it.
It was a grown man.
A grown man, yeah. He's sitting in the front of the police car over there now.
Now, the other part that I want to go into is there was the media was reporting pretty much even up until like 4 or 5 days after this happened that there were 4 handguns that were confiscated or recovered in the school. 4 handguns. Okay, now play a little bit of that there.
New information this morning from a couple of federal officials and state officials. They say now that there were actually 4 handguns recovered inside the school, not just 2 as we were initially told. 4 handguns, and apparently only handguns that were taken into the school. We knew that...
Now, the reason it's important that you realize that they were reporting only 4 handguns were recovered and that was it from inside the school is because there's actually a video, and I'm not sure if it's taken from a helicopter or what. It looks like it was taken from a helicopter. There's actually video of the police retrieving what looks to be either a rifle or a long rifle out of the trunk of the so-called suspect. And they admitted to getting the long rifle out of the trunk. It's not like they're trying to cover it up. They say that the rifle was in the trunk. And there's a video of them getting a rifle or a long rifle out of the trunk. Why this is so important is because when the coroner released his report publicly, he was very adamant that the only gun wounds in the building was from long rifle wounds. Basically, all the shotgun wounds that he had seen were caused by basically a long gun, not a handgun. And the media was reporting that only 4 handguns were recovered from inside off of the body of Adam. So if Adam only had 4 handguns and everybody was shot with a long gun, something doesn't add up. And
body death was caused by everyone that we've completed so far was caused by gunshot wounds. All the wounds that I know of at this point were caused by the long weapon.
So the rifle was the primary weapon?
Yes.
so I guess what I want to say is if this was a false flag, I really think the globalists or the UN would be behind it more than our government. I have a real hard time believing there's enough people in our government that would go for something this horrific. Now, foreign UN or globalists, foreign globalists that really have no allegiance to America or our values, would they do something like this? Would they manipulate something like this to their advantage? Absolutely. So that's all the information. Make of it what you will. And the last bit of information here that I wanted to talk about was the fact that Adam Lanza smashed his hard drive. And usually when people do something like this, they're making a statement and they want people to know why they did it. They want to embellish it a little bit. Even crazy people. I mean, even Jared Loughner left little hints as to why he did what he was doing. It just doesn't make any sense for this kid that they're describing, an autistic, weak video game player, would smash up his hard drive before he'd do something like this. It's all very suspicious. A more likely scenario would probably be that someone else smashed his hard drive up, and make up of what you will. This is a mess. The other thing that I wanted to say real quick and mention was the Libor thing. Everybody says that Adam Lanza's father was involved in the Libor case, or he was set to testify. I haven't been able to find any evidence of that. Ben Swan just released a video where he actually did a little investigation into that. He hasn't been able to find any evidence to support that the father was actually going to testify in the Libor case. He did find that the GE Capital that the father was the VP for was involved in some fraudulent activity, and people actually even went to jail over it. But as far as the Libor case goes, he couldn't find anything to connect uh, Adam's dad to the Libor case. And I haven't been able to find it either. If I could find any little nugget of truth or reality to that, I would tell you guys. I just haven't been able to find anything. But a good buddy of mine on here on the tubes, Matt Larson, a lot of you guys listen to, actually made the point to me. I was chatting with him, and he said, but if you were going to be testifying in that case, would they really publish your name publicly? And he's probably right. If you were set to be a witness or to testify in a case that big, there's a good chance that they wouldn't publish your name anywhere out there. So make of it what you will. That's that. I want to know what you guys think at this case. I mean, there's so much information out there, and we've had time to absorb everything. What do you think? But one thing is clear. They are coming after your guns. And I think once they get your guns, they're going to go after the internet and free speech. But they just want the guns first. It makes them feel a lot better to have the guns first. Makes it a lot easier to force their tyranny upon you if it's an unarmed citizenry. So I think they're coming for the guns. That's pretty obvious. And I said that. I said that back in July. I'll play a clip of that now. Their guns back. And I'm telling you, they're trying to go after our free speech, they're trying to go after the internet, and they're trying to go after your guns. It's the trifecta of a complete, utter tyranny. Back when I learned that the DHS was arming up to the teeth with 450 million rounds of ammunition, I warned you. I said they're coming after the guns. And I was made fun of by a lot of the YouTube trolls, but looks like I was right. And I wasn't the only one warning you. I seen Alex Jones warn everybody before the election that Obama was coming for the guns. He wants your guns. I mean, it seemed like every night Alex Jones was warning people of that. Gerald Celente and anybody that Fabian for Liberty. I think even Fabian for Liberty even predicted that there was going to be a school shooting. I'm pretty sure. I can't find it, and I don't have the time to go back and look through his videos, but I'm pretty sure I remember him saying that. And I think I even had said that in a video or two, that they're probably going to be a mass school shooting. And they're probably going to use it to take people's guns. So here we go. Here we are. What do you guys think? Comment below. Like this video. Subscribe. I don't know where it's at. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Subscribe. And that's all I got to say on it. And I want to look forward to seeing what you have to say. Lawless out.